Today we are talking about making delayed gratification more tolerable. I'm having this thought that I'm like, it's kind of like swirling in my head, and I'm going to try to work it out with all of you. However, I'm also trying to do this on Instagram right now, and it's like malfunctioning, so I'm going to try to maybe restart it. Hang on. But anyway, I promise this is going to be a good one. At least it's going really well in my mind so far. Let me see if I can get Instagram. I'll give Instagram one more try. Instagram's been screwy lately. But yeah, again, delaying, Instagram's just not going to work. All right, so delaying gratification, how to make it more tolerable. Here, actually, you know what? Sorry, I can't. I'm like a dog with a bone. I can't let go of doing these things right. I don't know why this. I have this dedicated Instagram phone that has totally failed me the last couple times I've tried to go live with it. So let me try with this phone and see if this phone works a little better. Let's see. So, man, this Instagram Live is just in a full malfunction right now. So, okay, we're going to just go without Instagram. So, delaying gratification. Here's the thought, kind of the swirl that's been going through my head that I think is going to be useful for everyone watching. It's basically, first of all, everybody knows like delaying gratification is where it's at. I was literally at breakfast this morning with my daughter, and we're paying the check. And it's so funny, like, of all the things that the guy ringing us up could have said to my daughter, he's like, "So how's it going, little girl," or something? And she's like, "Oh, it's good." He says, "Is your room clean?" He's just kind of making banter. And she's like, "Well, not really." And I said, "Oh, her room's actually cleaner than most kids. She's kind of meticulous that way." And he's like, "Well, delaying gratification, that's the key." And I was like, yeah, that really is the key. I say that all the time. What a kind of a coolly, quirky, flippant comment just as we're paying our tab at breakfast. But delayed gratification, that's it. And especially with building these online businesses, that's probably the single greatest X factor between those who succeed and those who don't, is that ability to delay gratification. Because, we talk a lot about the differences, and this is true to some degree with all things, and you can look at whatever you're doing and probably find ways that delayed gratification is inherent in what you're doing. But specifically with building an online business, let's say, there's a huge component of delayed gratification because you're not even getting the gratification of the physical accomplishments that go with starting a business, a traditional business. There's a lot of ways that you get gratified when you start a business. I'll think of my restaurant, for example. I started a restaurant. There was a colossal failure. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It nearly bankrupted me. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me, or the worst, best thing. I don't know. That it was horrible, but also I recovered from it in a way that changed my life. But if I just look at that, the startup phase of that was actually a lot more gratifying than the startup phase of an online business. Whew. Excuse me. I don't have COVID. I just sneezed. That's all it was. So starting a business, I remember like when we signed the lease. I remember when we got the bank loan. I remember when we got our equipment in. I remember when we got our signage. I remember when we got our menus printed. I remember when every little thing feels like this little win along the way because it's physically stacking up to something that you can see being built in front of your eyes. And so there's this illusion that you're making progress just because you see it happening. But reality is you could be digging a hole. In my case, I was just digging a hole. Everything that felt like a win, that gave me this emotional sense of like, okay, I checked a box, on to the next thing, checked a box, on to the next thing, was ultimately just stacking the house of cards higher so that when it would topple bigger, louder, more catastrophically. But I was getting that gratification all along the way, right? And yet with an online business, there's like none of that. It's all happening in the cloud. You can't hardly see it. Man, it looks like I slipped my wrist. That's from a cat, just to be clear. It's all happening in the cloud, and you can't see it. It doesn't pat you on the back. You can't show it to anyone, really. And if you do, they glaze over and don't know what you're talking about. Like, you get none of those little micro wins along the way that are feel good emotionally, but don't pay any bills. With internet, it's just like dig, 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 emerge. Woo, that was fun. Look at me now, right? And so the ability to tolerate real delayed gratification, not just delayed financial gratification, but the gratification, or delaying the gratification of just anything even tangible at all, to show that it's working. I mean, you get these little wins like, yay, I got my first name on my list, but they still didn't buy anything. And it's not like there's no physical vibration. Like, you didn't shake anybody's hand. You didn't get a smile. You didn't get somebody to say, hey, thank you, that was great. Or like, it's so strangely cold. It feels, and lonely it feels, until it's working. And suddenly when it's working, everything's amazing. Everyone thinks you're a genius. Like, it all looks so easy. Everybody thinks you lucked out, or it was overnight, or but like, ultimately it was that ability to delay gratification that enables online success. And I see people, I have the vantage point of seeing thousands and thousands and thousands more people starting a business and signing up for, knowingly or not, and to the best of my ability, I try to make it conscious. I try to make it knowing. You're signing up for a massive exercise in delaying gratification, probably beyond anything you've ever experienced before in your life. The only thing even going to medical school and waiting 10 years to become a doctor, you've still got more emotional wins along the way. You've still got people cheering for you. You've still got people handing you certificates. You're still getting A's on your exams. You're still, they're giving you your new stethoscope, or they're giving you your new coat, or there's just all, and educational programs, and ours included, to the extent that they're successful, it's often the extent to which they create these little emotional experiences along the way that keep people going. And for us, that's actually the number one thing that I shouldn't say but it's one of the main things that we work on, is like, how do we give people the sensation of progress as often and as richly as possible, so they get that feeling that keeps them going? Because we know that people really, really struggle to live an ascetic life of progress. And here's the thing, I'm really, really good at building online businesses. I've learned that about myself, and it's something I can say proudly and humbly at the same time. I'm really, really good at this. The main reason I'm really, really good at this is because I know how to work for a really long period of time with no one cheering for me, with a lot of people even maybe thinking that I'm nuts, with no tangible, experiential validation to show, but with only the conviction in my own mind that I'm doing what I should be doing, and that I believe in myself to know that the outcome will be good if I stay with it long enough. That's it. That's my superpower. My superpower is not funnels. It's not copywriting. It's not direct response. It's not public speaking. It's not some gift. It's the gift of tenacity in the absence of validation and emotional reward. It's the same thing I did when I started teaching myself to play the piano. I sat for thousands of hours doing a thing for no other reason than because I wanted to do it, and because I saw the matrix. That's maybe my other superpower, is that I see the matrix as it is. Forgive the term, but it's such a convenient metaphor. I saw that the beaten path model of going to school, racking up debt, getting a job, working for the man, giving it decades, hoping to retire someday. I understood economics well enough, and I understood behavioral psychology well enough, and I understood myself well enough to know that that was a bad deal. And I just simply did what you would do in the logical conviction that is a bad deal, which is go, well, what else can I do? I should build a thing. I should start building things that I think are cool and that also can ultimately pay the bills for me someday. And first it was music, and I taught myself to play the piano. I spent thousands and thousands of hours with everyone thinking I was, frankly, kind of a loser. I dropped out of high school to do it. And even going to college, I was able to get into college. It's not like I was a shining star in the music program at college. I had to audition 6 times in 3 years to even get accepted into the music school. They thought I was a joke too. They're like, who'd you study with? When did you start? I was like, well, I started a year ago and I'm teaching myself. They're like, yeah, good luck, bud. You know, maybe you should just try to be a teacher. Try to get a degree so you can teach music. I was like, no, I don't want to teach music. I want to play music. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. We can't stop you. And I said, I don't need you to stop me. I don't need you to start me. Just tell me when I'm good enough to get in, and I'll keep coming back until you do. And that's my superpower, man. I know how to toil. And anyway, so it's the same thing with internet business. But I also understand now that I've got, frankly, 20 years in those trenches. 10 years was teaching piano lessons to students and parents in some cases. I had a lot of grown-up students, and seeing how much people struggle to stay with a thing that isn't making them feel good or isn't giving them a financial reward or isn't giving them social validation. Nobody's telling them good job. I mean, I was telling them good job, but that wasn't enough. I saw how much people struggle with that. Then I switched to online, and I did really well there. I frankly did I've done no better with the internet than I did with music. I was a really good piano player. I self-taught and had a great career. It's just that business model is very lame, except for a very, very, very small percentage of people. Whereas the internet business model, if you get good at it and you do the right things and you do them well over time, you're going to make money. It's actually that simple. It's pretty beautiful in that way. In fact, you can't even say that at a lot of jobs. You can say, hey, I'm going to do great. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to be one of the best. And you still might get laid off, right? Whereas with internet, you do a good job, you do the right things over a long enough period of time, you are almost guaranteed to make. I mean, there's very few things that could go wrong that would prevent you from making money if you're doing the right things the right way for long enough. So anyway, I do that. But the whole time I'm delaying gratification. I'm delaying gratification. I'm delaying gratification. I don't know why I'm good at delaying gratification. I don't know what gene I was born with or what happened to me in my childhood that made me good at delaying gratification. I know I have some ideas. I was bullied a lot. I felt really weird. I felt very alone. I was an only child. I spent a lot of time by myself. I had a lot of things going on in my life at a young age where I realized if it is to be, it's up to me, and I'm really the only person I can rely on. Yeah, I have a great support system, but ultimately the feeling of progress is going to come from me and me alone. And if I look elsewhere for it, I'm probably not going to find it. I got that memo early, and I suppose that's part of what's helped me along the way. But I work with thousands and thousands of people who struggle, and in some cases who completely fall off the wagon. They completely fall off because they're not getting that result. They're not getting that gratification. So I recognize that it's not enough to just say, well, be like me. Well, get really good at delaying gratification and don't give me any excuses and swallow your own bullshit and just do it. It's got to be more than that. So I'm coming up with I'm always looking well, how can I help people be better at delaying gratification? And so this morning it hit me. It's okay, what are these little tricks that I've always played with myself in my own mind that help me stay true to that? And this is one of them. Lately, I've been getting a lot of really, really good external indicators of progress. I've been getting I'm finally getting the gratification on this business that I'm doing right now, that, it's been 2 years. I've had gratification before that. I got awards. I mean, that's why these awards exist. It's to give entrepreneurs that gratification, right? That recognition that makes them, inspires them to keep going, gives them something to aim for. And then once they get it, it gives them something to boost from. But in terms of the business that I'm doing right now, which is about building a social profile, creating a lot of content, and growing an education business, I've just, after working hard for 2 years, I'm starting to get that gratification. I've been on some big podcasts lately. My social profile, my YouTube and Instagram both just blew past 10,000, and they're starting to grow pretty fast. I had 500 new Instagram followers in the last 2 days. Like all this good stuff is starting to happen where I'm like, yes, now it's happening, right? Let me soak up the gratification. But I'm like, I instinctively recognize that's a trap. That's a trap. If I start investing too much satisfaction in these external indicators of progress, then I'm reducing the extent to which I'm invested in my own emotional, what would it be? Like a barometer or a compass or a odometer? I don't know, speedometer, whatever. It's got to be an internal metric or an internal meter of progress that keeps you going. And so it's almost like, don't get excited. Okay, I hit a mark, awesome. I was on a show, awesome. I got a follow, like I had a guy on Instagram follow me the other day who is followed by like Gary Vee and who's the guy, Jay Shetty, and a bunch of big guys follow him, and now he's following me, and I'm like, oh yeah, but it's like, I share that with the team. I'm like, hey guys, look, we're making progress. This is going well. But I personally cannot allow that to make me feel any different. The external validations of progress are great. I'm grateful for them, but I'm grateful for them only to the extent that they are affirming indicators of what I already know, believe, and feel. And that is actually the point. That is the message that I'm trying to get to. That is what I'm trying to work through in my mind out loud right now on this live, is that I've done pretty well because this doesn't change how I feel that much. I was already pretty solid. The fact that somebody followed me, or that so many people followed me, or that, frankly, that so many people bought from me, or that the business has scaled as much as it has, like, that's all a business equation. Like, oh, okay, I have more money coming in, so I can staff up more, I can do more things, I can take things that I had on the back burner and pull them into the present because we have the resources now. Like, that's all business math. But at the center of it all is Jeff Lerner doing what he does, doing what he believes he's supposed to do, doing what he actually feels like he has to do. And that can't rely on anything external to Jeff Lerner to say it's good enough, or it's moving fast enough, or I'm okay, or people approve. None of that. And this is why, it's funny, the things that stay with us over time. I've read a lot of books of wisdom. Some of them are religious, some of them are philosophical, some of them are strategic, some of them are intentionally developmental, like From Good to Great, for example, like business development book. Like I read a lot. And there's things that pop out at me from here and there that stay with me over long periods of time, and they become really part of the fabric of who I am and how I do what I do. And one of them is actually from the Bible. Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of what is hoped for and the certainty of what is not seen. Faith is the substance of what is hoped for and the certainty of what is not seen. And the book's obviously writing a lot about faith in God, faith in Jesus, faith in a higher power, faith in whatever. But I'm talking about faith in myself. It is a lost or neglected or underappreciated or even ignored art in the world we live in by many of the powers that be to teach people how to have faith in themselves. We are raised, we are trained to have faith in institutions, to have faith in government, to have faith in the social security system, the educational system, our employer, the Fortune 500, the S&P 500, the whatever. And there's token mention of believe in yourself. Yeah, but like you can't do it yourself. There's a little fringe wacko group of libertarians that think that like the best version of me is the version of me that's left the most alone because the most I can do is what I can do when people aren't in my way. There's a few of us. But most people think it's all about the team. And that team, that's a loaded word. As soon as you say team, everybody's got to be pro team or they're a bad apple. Well, build teams, but choose teams. I didn't choose a lot of the teams that I'm supposed to be aligned with. I'm supposed to be aligned, and I'm not saying I am or I'm not. I'm just naming a list of teams that I didn't choose. I didn't choose my family of birth. I didn't choose my country. I didn't choose my city. I didn't choose my school where I grew up. I didn't choose whatever political party was in power at the time. I didn't choose a lot of teams that I'm supposed to just be aligned with instead of choosing or building the teams that I want to be aligned with. Nothing happens in a vacuum. You need other people, but you need yourself more. That's the problem, is the world's got us convinced that we need other people more than we need ourselves. Look at everything that's happening right now. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's angry because of all the ways that they've been let down. What about the ways that we've let ourselves down? Why isn't that the predominant conversation in our own mind all the time? It's the thing we can actually control. And if we focus on that and actually have faith in ourselves, that will give us the substance of what we hope for, which means we don't need all this external validation. I hope to be a really big online influencer with a massive footprint and a massive impact and a massive audience and the ability to do a massively positive thing in this world. I hope for that. I do. I want millions of people that are at least feeling what I'm trying to put out there, which I think is a good thing. So the way that I can hope for that with substance without needing it to happen now in order to have the energy to keep pursuing it is to have faith, because faith is the substance. But it's faith in me. It's not faith in Instagram. It's not faith in Mark Zuckerberg. It's faith in me. I'll make it happen. I will. Watch me. Or don't. Eventually, a lot of people will be watching, though. And the certainty of what is not seen. Faith is the substance of what is hoped for and the certainty of what is not seen. In other words, you can't see it. I can see it in my mind, but I can't see it in front of me. But I have certainty nonetheless, which means passing 10,000 subscribers on YouTube or hitting a benchmark in sales or any such external indicator is awesome, and it's also not necessary. Because if I'm certain, I don't need certainty. The definition of certainty is that the extent to which you have it is the extent to which you don't need any more of it. If you are fully certain, you don't need more certainty because you're already full up. Certainty is an absolute. That's the point of the word. You can't be somewhat certain or you're not certain. You either have it or you don't. So if I'm certain, if faith is certainty of what is not seen and I have faith, therefore I have certainty, even if I don't see it yet, then I shouldn't need to see it in order to feel certain of it in order to have faith. Make sense? You really, really get that. You really, really steep your bones in that so that it's like, it's not just in your heart, your soft tissue, it's in your hard tissue. So that it's literally in your soul, that faith in yourself. Then you won't need the external rewards, and the concept of delayed gratification itself will become a tautology. Because gratification, another way to say that, faith is the substance of what is hoped for, the certainty of what is not seen, and the gratification that need not be delayed, that cannot be delayed, because to the extent that you have faith in yourself, you're already gratified and certain with substantive, tangible validation, because it's all happening in here and in here anyways. That's the hack. That's the trick. That's how you beat the tendency of human beings to go, man, it's been 6 months and I don't have a sale. How do I keep going? It's been 6 months and I'm not even certain I'm in the right niche. Or sometimes it's been 2 weeks and GoDaddy still has my hosting screwed up. Or it's been 3 months and I haven't been able to find a good contractor on Fiverr to make me a good logo that I like. Or it's been 2 years and everybody around me thinks I'm insane and thinks I'm an idiot and thinks I should bail on my dream and just be content with my job. All of those scenarios. Now, as you were listening to those, you may have been like, well, yeah, that 2-week thing, that sounds ridiculous. But that 2-year thing, oh, I get him. That would be hard. Listen, if you have faith and you have substance, and you have certainty, and you're already gratified because it's already happened here and here because of who you believe you are, all time is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if it's been 2 weeks or 2 years. See, that's the insulation. That's the armor. Everything else, even giving time a say in the matter, is giving up your personal power. It's giving the external world or external forces some influence over your internal conviction. If I say I'm going to give it 6 months, I actually think, listen, if you were going to give it, you should give it what it takes. And if you weren't going to give it, you shouldn't even have given it 6 minutes. If you believe yourself to be the person that can do it, I mean, if nobody has ever done it before, then you have perhaps an even harder question to ask yourself, like, am I the one that's going to do it even though no one ever has? That's a tough question. I'll have that conversation with someone. That, to me, that's a fun conversation. Like, how do we get ourselves to the level of certainty that we believe we can do a thing that's never been done? But here's the thing about what I do. I'm not doing anything that's never been done. Building a big online audience, building a big online education business. Now, there's a nuance to it, I think, that probably has never been done, which is to fully emerge as a meld of online education, online business education, and personal development. I think there's people that have touched on it. You know, for example, Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels. They're like, funnels, digital marketing. Oh yeah, by the way, we check out our funnel flicks. We license Tony Robbins content. Woo, personal development. No, it's like I'm going full with both. It's in the DNA. It's my X chromosome and my Y chromosome. Digital marketing, or let's call it new economy entrepreneurship and personal development. Front and center, twins from the same birth. That part's never been done before. But the methods, the tactics, I'm not relying on things that are uncreated before me. So to say I'm going to give it 6 months, what would that even mean? I'm going to give it 6 months to see if I'm human like the other guy that did it or the other people that have done it? No, that's just saying I'm going to give it 6 months to see if I have what it takes. So if you don't already think you have what it takes, don't give it 6 minutes. Decide you have what it takes. Be the fucking lunatic that has what it takes. Be that person on day one. That's how I'm saying it as a fact. You can disagree with me about whether it's possible for you, but you can't disagree with me about whether it's logical. That delayed gratification works for you if you're already a person who's gratified because you know who you are and you believe that you can do it. Or it works against you because it gets harder with time. In other words, it works for you if you're so confident in yourself that time is irrelevant. It works against you if you're giving power to time as an external force, just like all the external forces. You know, it's like arbitrary. We say, well, I need to block out that external force. I need to block out that external force. I need to not listen to my parents. I need to ignore my boss at work. But time, I need to be completely dependent on what time tells me. That doesn't make any sense. So you're either all or nothing. You either believe in yourself or you don't. So solve that question. I totally agree with my friend Evan Carmichael that I interviewed a couple weeks ago, that a lack of belief is the number one problem people have. It's the number one problem in the world. It's the greatest challenge we face in the world is that people don't believe in themselves. Nobody had articulated it to me quite like he did. Now I'm crystal clear. Hey, Evan, awesome. We're literally fighting the same battle. And the fact that the ability to delay gratification is the number one predictor of a successful outcome is reflective of the fact that the number one problem is that people don't believe in themselves. Because if you believe in yourself, the concept of delayed gratification is irrelevant because you're already gratified, because you're already certain, because you already have faith. You with me? That's how I know. Jeff, how do you do what you do? Because I already know. I already know. It's already done. Give me time. Call me names. Shoot your arrows. It's the internet. You can't hurt me. And the beautiful thing is the more you put yourself out there in confidence and boldness, people don't actually want to hurt you. They want to get on board. They like what you're doing. It's beautiful to see. I'm not like, this hasn't turned me against humanity. This has brought me closer to humanity. I have so many people supporting what I'm doing because even though at first people are kind of like, I don't know. It's the people close to you a lot of times that are going to give you the hardest time. The reality is The world, they love winners. And as soon as they start to think that you could be one, and by the way, the number one hallmark of a winner is confidence. So like you can actually be a winner on day one if you're just confident. People go, this guy's confident and he's not backing down. I like him. I'm going to get on board. Let's help him move this along. Whatever he's doing, right? Like you can control that outcome for yourself. You can guarantee that outcome from yourself almost on day one if you approach it the right way. Listen, I've said a lot here. I've talked a while longer than I intended to. I hope this makes sense. I am so convicted and so certain right now and so full of faith, not because I hit an external metric or triggered a threshold or checked a box or got a positive feedback from the world, but because what's already happened in my mind is now what's happening in the world. Who was it that said that to me? I forget. It was on one of these interviews I did recently. They said, I think it was Alex Mayer. It was. And that interview's coming out soon, and you got to check it out, man. That guy is a genius. I'm so grateful that I get to count him as a personal relationship now. By the way, start a podcast. Like at some point, put it on your to-do list, just so you can have the most amazing friends in the world. But anyway, one of the things Alex Mayer said, he said, with the most successful people in the world, everything they do actually happens 3 times. It happened once in their mind, long before it happened in the world. Then it happened in the world when they did it, and they knew they'd done it, but no one else did. Then it happened a 3rd time when the rest of the world caught on and figured out what they were doing and started to cheer. Think about Elon Musk. Think about Steve Jobs. Think about Bill Gates. Think about Mother Teresa. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream. No, he had a reality. The reason he still called it a dream is because for the rest of the world, it hadn't actually happened yet. But you tell me he couldn't have lived the life he lived if he didn't already believe that dream was a reality. I'm telling you, man, you got to see it. You got to see it in your mind in a way that's more real than other people's actual reality. And if you do, the concept of delayed gratification goes away because time becomes irrelevant. Because what doesn't matter in dreamland? What doesn't matter in God's world? What doesn't matter in the big picture? Time. Time goes away when you have certainty and faith and belief. That's all I got.